Yo, this is the Scarcity Studios YouTube channel. Please don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. The first story of this episode is about the police officer that was murdered in the Newbury area on Bath Road near Reading in Berkshire. PC Andrew Harper, who was only married 4 weeks ago. You gotta feel sorry for the guy and also his wife as well. Condolences. He died at around 11:30 on the evening. He was attending reports of a burglary and it's now emerged he was dragged along by a vehicle, so potentially was hit. He was hit on the junction of a road. As you can see from the footage, you can see brake marks, and you can also see evidence that potentially a vehicle collision occurred near his vehicle that was the BMW. Thames Valley Police have arrested 10 people, all male and aged between the age of 13 and 30. And this has been quite a shock, being 13 years old, being the youngest that I've seen to be arrested for murdering the whole time I've been doing this. They've all been arrested on suspicion of murder and remain at various police stations. The Prime Minister has even spoken out and said the death was mindless and a brutal crime. The Chief Constable at Thames Valley Police, John Campbell, said the death of PC Harper, policing officer, had left the force shocked and saddened. A cordon was put in place near the A4 Bath Road near Reading and Newbury. The Prime Minister said it was a tragedy and reminds us how important the police are. PC Harper joined the police force in 2011 and was originally a special constable a year earlier. He attended a break-in, they said, and other colleagues actually attended it as well. Witnesses said officers were searching inside a grey BMW that was nearby. The force said that it flew its flag at half-mast in honour and memory of Andrew today. And this is the 10th police officer in 10 years to be killed during an incident involving a criminal suspect. The last one was PC Keith Palmer. In 2012, Greater Manchester PC's Fiona Bowen and Nicola Hughes were killed by a grenade and firearm attack while investigating a hoax burglary call. A number of other cases involved officers being struck by vehicles driven by suspects. 30,000 assaults on police, and a third of them resulted in injury, took place last year up until March. And PC Harper is the third attack in recent weeks on police officers in duty, with the last one being Stuart Alton of the Metropolitan Police, who I actually covered in the other video, so go and check that one out for that story. The second story is the murder of a stranger in Dulwich over a row over a cigarette in a shop. Simple as that. Jamal Riley from Southwark was found guilty on Friday the 16th of August of killing the 39-year-old called Dennis Anderson from Lewisham following a fight in an off-licence in East Dulwich. He will be sentenced on the 20th of August. On the 10th of February, Dennis was returning home from a party in the early hours of the morning. He had been to a 40th birthday party and he was going to a 60th birthday party, so it was two different parties that he'd been attending, and he was at the off license, from the sounds of it probably under the influence of alcohol and getting more alcohol. He was with a group of friends when he entered the off license. Jamal Riley was already in the shop at the time. Riley had been asking customers in the shop if he could have a cigarette, and witnesses said he was appearing aggressive and impolite. It was at this point that he asked Dennis the same question, and an argument had broken out between the two, and Riley appeared to walk towards the door as if he was going to leave the premises. It was at this point that he took out a large hunting knife. Witnesses saw him raise the knife, and Dennis stepped towards him and attempted to wrestle the knife out of his hands. Footage showed the struggle between the two men inside the shop, and it spilled out into the street. It was here that the external footage showed Riley on top of the victim and making a stabbing motion towards the left side of his body, a deep cut to his neck. Riley was dragged off by Dennis's friends and punched before fleeing the scene towards a grove. Officers then arrived at 20 to 3 in the morning, so this was very early in the morning, and they attempted first aid. Despite significant efforts by the officers and paramedics, Dennis was pronounced dead at 3:04. A post-mortem examination was concluded on Tuesday the 12th of February, and Dennis was found to have had several lacerations, a fatal cut to the neck and one to his face, back and multiple to his left hand hand, which he used to defend himself. Detective tried to seek Riley. That's where he handed himself in after his brother and dad spoke to the police. And this just goes to show how quickly a situation can escalate, especially if you have a weapon with you and somebody says the wrong thing, somebody disrespectfully or drunkenly says something which in no way, shape or form should have resulted in this man losing his life. So condolences to Dennis's family, and what a waste of a young man's life. He's going to spend the rest of his life potentially behind bars. It's a very sad story. In the last story of today's episode, I'm going to talk about the anti-knife crime advert. It's a new campaign the government have launched. Boris Johnson is now Prime Minister. They are investing money into chicken boxes, adverts on chicken boxes, stories to deter people from committing knife crime. Plans by the Home Office to put these chicken boxes into effect, which have already gone out, have been labelled embarrassing, stupid and racist. More than 321,000 boxes feature the government's Knifefree campaign and have been distributed over 210 outlets in England and Wales. Inside the boxes are real-life stories of young people who have chosen to pursue positive activities such as boxing or music instead of carrying a knife. Like, that makes it sound like carrying a knife is a career. The boxes will replace the standard packaging, so that is quite a big thing on its own, and it's going to happen in Morley's Chicken Cottage and Dixie's. So these are very big brands. I wonder how much that's going to cost to replace their packaging, which is a form of advertising, to be honest. Government believe that this will bring home to thousands of young people the tragic consequences of carrying a knife and challenge the idea that it makes you safer. The government is doing everything it can, it says, to tackle the senseless violence that is traumatizing communities and claiming so many young lives every year, including bolstering the police ranks with 20,000 new police officers on our streets. That will be interesting to find out, because with all the cuts and more cuts going on, probation getting cuts, I don't understand how that's going to be possible, but I'll definitely keep an eye on that. However, the move has been criticised and branded embarrassment and ridiculous and borderline racist. The Shadow Home Secretary Diane Abbott tweeted, "Instead of investing in public health approach to violent crime, the Home Office has opted for yet another crude, offensive and potentially expensive campaign. They would do better to invest in our communities and not demonize them." Another Twitter user has specified spending money on funding communities, outreach projects, social workers, job opportunities and schools. That would be too much effort, I assume. And the fried chicken aspect, the fact it's in chicken shops, like, I think the government's idea was that they was trying to appeal to young people, and also David Lammy's quote of saying, "Why have you chosen chicken shops? What is next? Knife-free watermelons?" So he's symbolizing that he feels it's a bit racist, and to be honest, I have no idea what they feel they're going to achieve. Anybody that is going out with a knife or feels they have to carry a knife or is involved in any knife crime, I guarantee you would not be deterred by a story of somebody becoming a boxer or a musician. However brilliant that is, however positive it is, on a box while you're eating your chicken is the last thing you want to be thinking about. So I really want to hear people's opinions on all of these stories, so please try to like, comment, share, subscribe, and there's plenty more news on the way, so please don't forget to turn your bell on for notifications. Thank you.